My parents demand financial support for their vehicle, and they guilt tripped me when I refused.
Why don't you guilt trip them right back?
First of all, I'm sorry for the mess. I'm very emotional right now. Well, it's okay. I'm 28, female, immigrated to Canada at 11 with my parents. Back home, my parents were very comfortable, and once they moved to Canada, we were middle class. And I'll admit, while I wasn't spoiled, I never missed anything growing up. By the way, this comes from user Tall Memory 7513, and you can submit your stories to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Boop.
So, I'll spare the details, but my relationship with my parents wasn't the best growing up. While they never hit me, they were emotionally abusive. My mom was mean and my dad was emotionally unavailable and always wrapped up in his own world. I was very ambitious from a young age. When I turned 16, I got myself not only one, but two jobs. Working 80 hours during the summers until I turned 20 and moved out for college. I was financially illiterate and irresponsible. So honestly, I spent all my money, but I paid for everything myself, except I lived there for free. I had free food and free public school education and free medical expenses. At 22, I got admitted into law school. My parents never directly said to me that they were proud, but never missed an opportunity to brag. When I asked them for a laptop for college, my dad sat me down and registered me for a student loan and told me, "Welcome to the real world. You're now on your own, kid." When my sister got into college this year, he bought her a laptop. Whenever I mentioned needing money during college, he told me to use the student loan money. During the first 2 years of college, my mom gave me a monthly allowance of $400, so I was grateful for that. Later, I discovered that she took my tax credit for the tuition I took a loan out for. When I confronted them, they told me I was selfish and ungrateful. I missed over $7,000 worth of tax return, so they pretty much paid what she gave me. I told them that I was going to do my taxes alone the year after, so she cut me off. Fast forward 3 years later, I graduated from law school and also did a master's degree, but I was in $140,000 in student loan debt. I'll admit, college tuition is not that expensive in Canada, and part of it was because I was irresponsible with money. What do you mean? Wait a minute. What does that mean? That's not, you can't just be like, I had $140,000 in student loan debt, but actually, I bought a car for $100,000. So really,
yeah.
Like, what is that?
Because as Honeybee says, don't they have free medical help and school in Canada? I'm assuming that OP's probably paying for some sort of private healthcare.
Yeah, they do have private
options.
options.
They have,
out there.
yeah, you have the option there. And then maybe if they're going to like law school, probably more expensive.
I just love
but also, yeah, kind of crazy that
the ambiguousness of that comment. I mean, most of it was because I was financially irresponsible. It's like, you don't just randomly rack up $140,000 of debt.
Gotta be real bad.
Like,
with the money.
what?
But it's just like using their card. They're like, oh yeah, just put it in my credit card.
I like how they're like, I'm not spoiled, but also I can
no
kind of
idea
accidentally rack up 6 figures of debt.
Yeah, that's kind of
You're
insane.
spoiled as flippity doodah.
True.
So I got my first job at a good law firm, and my salary was $130,000 a year. I was stupid and told my parents how much I made. So for them, I was rich, and it was the time to collect their return on their investment. Little did they know I have $1,700 a month in student loan repayment. I live on my own, and expenses do rack up. I also had some mental health issues, so I had to take 3 months off of work. I don't blame my parents for my financial mistakes, but I racked up $10,000 in credit card debt on top of my student loans. I was trying to live like my friends who made the same salary, but they didn't have loans, and that was a mistake. So I decided to be very strict on my budget to pay off the debts as soon as possible. Since I have little self-control, I don't keep much in savings. I just pay off as much as I can. My parents always make comments on how frugal I became and how I never spend money on them. So on 2 different occasions, we went to the restaurant with my brother and sister, and they gave the whole bill to me. The first time I paid it, and the second time I refused. I visit them less and less now, but every time they make comments on how rich I am and how I never spend money on them, that is weird.
It is weird. Why are they asking you? I don't understand, because I thought they were rich.
I mean,
I feel like they lost all their money.
I think they when they moved to Canada, they weren't making as much as they made
that must
previously.
Be it. Yeah.
But like,
to the point where they have to like beg OP for money?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. So we're going to keep going. They would always make comments on how rich I am and how I never spend money on them. Keep in mind, I got my mom a phone. I gave my dad $300 on his birthday. Same for my mom. And years ago, when I was still in college, I was parking my aunt's car and I bumped his car. I swear it was just a tiny little bump on the door. So he asked me to give him $1,000 for the repair. I told him I was broke, so he had told me that I'll have to pay for it when I graduate. Low-key, this sounds like you're being financially, like, abused or manipulated.
Yeah,
here.
he
Like,
probably, like, I don't know, put the car there. He, like, drove the car behind you, and he's like, you ran into my car.
$1,000 for a little ding
There's
is
trickery going on.
exploitive.
Yeah.
For real.
You could buff that out.
Yeah. Honestly, they sell tools for like $5 that you could probably pull that dent right out of the metal. This week, they decided to buy an Audi and needed to sell their old car. So my dad asked me to give him the $1,000. He never repaired it and he wasn't planning, but he told me that he would have to lower the price $1,000 when negotiating because he's selling it on Facebook Market. Therefore, I'll have to give him the money. Since I use all my money to pay back as much debt as possible, the holidays were pricey, so I literally have only $500 in my account. So I tried to explain to them for the first time that I'm actually broke and can't pay for it. They were mad at me and told me again that a lot of people my age were financially supporting their parents.
I can tell you that ain't true.
Chat, is that a lie, chat?
I can tell you that ain't true.
Chat, are we being lied to? OP continues, this is when I lost it. I started crying and told them that most of my friends didn't have to pay a penny for their education, and all they asked for is for them to not guilt trip me for not financially supporting them. They told me that my friends' parents were rich, and once again, I'm an ungrateful brat. They are far from broke. They just bought a bigger house in Canada, have 2 apartments, and a big home back home. I broke down. I took a long walk, and when I came back, I tried to explain to them calmly that their love felt conditional, since they made me feel like I had to pay them back for existing. So my dad told me that the $1,000 was just for the principal. You made a mistake, you have to pay for it. And the other comments about supporting them were just jokes.
Nah, they're trying to run it back. They're trying to run it back.
The good old-fashioned,
No, you don't
I was
understand
just joking.
us. It's all jokes.
I'm
If you
just
had paid us, we would have
ignoring.
taken it, but it's all jokes.
Also, it's a joke? $1,000 based just on principle.
Yeah.
That's $100 right there.
That's a bad
maybe.
principle.
Maybe 200. Maybe
Mhm.
250. Maybe.
That's it. That's if we're talking
Max
maybe.
tapped out at 250.
We're talking big dent.
Ay. He reminded me that he bought me glasses until high school. I told him it's the bare minimum since I can't actually see without them.
He's like,
He really said,
yeah,
remember all the times I didn't neglect you?
it's like, remember all the times when I helped you with your disability?
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Remember, daughter, who I didn't consult with on if they wanted to exist or not? Remember when I single-handedly prevented you from being blind?
You're welcome. Pay me
Purely
back.
out of the goodness of my heart.
Yeah, and also, you should pay me now.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness of my heart, and also the promise of money in the future.
Honestly, this is what I would do if I was OP. Just really quick before we get back to the story.
Yeah.
I would immediately stop caring about these people,
Yeah.
right? They are literally just trying to suck money out of you. And make your own itemized list of everything that you owe them,
Yeah.
right? And once you give them that money, just be like, now never ask me for a single thing ever again. We're even.
And then cut them off.
And be done.
Or don't give them money and then just cut them off.
Yeah. I mean,
Either one.
He also said that he paid for my phone during high school and that I will get a big inheritance from the real estate they have. He then added, may God never make us dependent on you. Blamed me for making a scene for $1,000. Reminded me that he sacrificed his career for us when he moved to Canada and told me that I will regret my behavior and the way I was treating them. See how bitter they get? See how spicy it gets? Once the sugar doesn't work, how spicy they get. Edit, thank you so much for everyone for your kind words. I just wanted to clarify, I don't actually financially support them, and I don't think they're living beyond their means. However, I think they were expecting to get spoiled once me and my siblings graduated in exchange for their sacrifices, and now they are salty and disappointed. If I could afford it, I would, but in this economy?
Ain't no way.
OP's got jokes.
Got joke.
In this economy?
We can't afford it in this economy.
Also,
OP's got debt.
was it, huh?
I said OP's got debt.
Oh, yeah, she's got
Jokes
debt.
and debts.
Jokes, debt jokes. Also, in college, my mom randomly called me once and was complaining on how she was tired of working. She said, if you and your brother give me $1,000 a month when you graduate, I could retire. You should just start calling everyone in the yellow book and making that same deal.
It's just like, if you all give me $10,
Mm-hmm.
if 1,000 people give me $10,
Just start a group chat with a bunch of strangers.
and say, hey, can I have $10? Thank you.
Thanks.
And then you just keep going down the line.
I told her politely that it's not fair to start my professional life with such a burden since she's in her early 50s and able-bodied. She got mad and gave me the silent treatment for weeks. And by the way, you don't have to endure the silent treatment because you can listen to full episodes with stories like this whenever you want. And you can hear us go blah, 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 blah. All you have to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any place where you consume podcasts and search OK Storytime.
Do it. You won't.
Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear her lay down the gauntlet? She just said, what'd she say?
Do it. You won't.
Oh my God. Are you going to take that? Couldn't be me. But hey, look, we've got a little bit of story left.
Let's finish her off.
Let's just go ahead and run right into it.
Let's run right into it. Full steam ahead.
Like a brick wall.
Chugga choo choo.
We will run. Finally, my mom was complaining to my sister that she had to give a gift to her friend because her friend gave a gift to my sister on her birthday and how much she had to repay for the gift we received during our lives. What is going on here?
These bad parents. Hey,
Yeah. I told her we didn't choose to be born. And she told me I didn't decide to have children. It was God's decision. Besides, I could have kicked you out at 18 and asked you to pay for groceries when you got your first job, like white people. I explained to her that maybe 1% of white people did that. Comments. I mean, honestly, I don't even think that's a race thing. It's just, it depends on, you need to, like, do you need all of the money?
Yeah.
Like, where's your income at?
Exactly.
Like,
I also am wondering possibly if this is like the comments about, oh, like kids your age are caring for their parents, if that's like potentially like probably cultural.
Maybe.
Yeah, potentially.
I feel like it's almost a cultural thing that like white people completely abandon their parents. It's because it's very.
Oh no, I mean when the parents were saying, oh, you need to take care of like children your age are taking care of their parents earlier in the story.
It's weird because culturally, I wonder where they came from before they came to Canada, because like pretty much everywhere else on earth besides like America and like Western society or culture, whatever you want to call it, it's a very normal and like basically expected thing to continue to live near your family.
Yeah.
And like your parents and whatever. Like it's the nucleus stays pretty tight.
Yeah.
But in, like American society or,
Western,
North American culture, it's like, if you don't get out of town, like the longer you're at home, like you're just the more of a loser you become, which is like not at all looked at like that everywhere else on earth, essentially. Yeah. So
true.
It is like maybe there's a little bit of that where it's like, oh, I thought we were gonna stay tight or whatever, and it seems like you're just trying to go do your own thing.
We're gonna be tight.
I thought we were gonna be cool when we moved to Canada, and now you're just like you got all these gross Canadian ideals.
What are you doing with those Canadian ideals?
Anyway. Let's finish it off. Comments. Number 1, please do not give them any money. You're not the a-hole. You've been very kind and generous, but this is another example of them showing that they do not see you as someone to love, only someone to use. Anything they bought you from the day you were born to the day you turned 18 is the bare minimum. That's their job as parents. They didn't want to shell out the money. They don't have kids. You worked hard to get where you are now, and you did it without their help. I think she got some. They don't get to demand things from you now. OP replied, thank you so much for your kind words. When I told my mom during the argument that I didn't ask to be born, she called me ungrateful and told me that she could have kicked me out as soon as I turned 18 and could have given me the bare minimum to survive during my childhood like some parents do. Oop.
Wow, well, that's the end of that story.
If you want more stories like this, search for our podcast, OK Storytime, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.